Have you started writing your first book only to feel stuck, overwhelmed, or unsure if you're even doing it right? Is procrastination, self-doubt, or even a lack of direction slowing you down to get your book out into the world? You're not alone. Many writers struggle with this, and today I want to share with you 6 steps to help you avoid these pitfalls that cause most writers to fail. If you're ready to see real progress in your book writing, stay with me. This episode is packed with practical steps to help you get to the finish line. Let's get it. Ready to write your first book and make an impact? Do you wish you could organize your book ideas without feeling overwhelmed and actually find the time to write and finish your book? Hey, I'm Donna Cherie, a book writing coach and author. Welcome to Book Writing Made Simple. Inside this podcast, I'll teach you how to get a clear vision for your book idea, get organized, keep it simple, and develop a writing plan so you can finally get your book out into the world. Grab a notebook and pen with your favorite cup of tea. Hey, welcome to the show, sis. Welcome to Book Writing Made Simple with Donna Cherie. I'm your host. I'm so excited to be here with you today. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already and stay tuned. If you're feeling really inspired by this show and you want to get so much more out of it and hear more about book writing and self-publishing tips, come and hang out with a group of Christian writers and aspiring authors just like you inside of my free Book Writing Made Simple group. In this group, you'll get support and encouragement from like-minded believers, strategies to get clear vision with a gentle push to move forward by faith, and book writing and self-publishing tools. Join now at donnacherie.com/community. I hope to see you there. All right, so let's get into today's episode. Today we are talking about some common pitfalls that most writers fail in. I've seen aspiring authors spinning their wheels, going around in circles only to give up, frustrated and give up. And it saddens me so much. And that is why I am passionate about talking about book writing and really simplifying the process. And I remember I was there, but I decided not to give up and get the accountability and support that I needed. I knew I needed to invest and that I needed a community and support to help me. And as a result, I was able to write and edit and publish my first book in less than a year. And by doing that, I developed a process that works. I know there are many writers out there, and this could potentially be you, who likes to DIY. You like to DIY things and possibly procrastinate or put things on hold. And I do believe, because I am somebody who has been a DIY person, and I don't know if, if this is still a thing, but like that DIY era, just really wanting to do everything yourself and not get help. And by doing that, it can keep us in just time of procrastinating, because the hours that it takes for us to have that learning curve, if we're not familiar or don't naturally have that skill, it's gonna delay us. And I can use building my website as an example, because when I first got started in business, I was like, I'm gonna create my own website. So at that time, I thought that I was going to blog. So I got me a hosting site to have my blog and wanted to create my website. Sis, I tried to DIY my website 3 times. So I finally was like, okay, I'm done with this. Like, I just didn't have that skill, and I was spending hours and hours. Like, one day I remember literally sitting down at my computer for 6 hours trying to learn how to build a website, how to get the format together, trying to figure out what my brand colors was going to be and all that. And then I didn't like it. And I was like, okay, I can't do what I thought I planned to do in my mind. And then I deleted the whole thing and I started over from scratch. I know. Foolishness. And I did it 3 times trying to DIY. And just imagine, now I'm not saying I had to go and pay like this $5,000 or $10,000 website designer to help me, but I could have invested a little bit of time and energy to research what might have been available for me to actually cut all this time and foolishness that I was doing to myself in half or more than half. And I want the same thing for you to stop DIYing this process to write your book in this time of procrastination and to actually follow these 6 steps that I want to give you today to help you avoid these common pitfalls that many writers fall into and unfortunately don't finish their book. They don't get it published. And I don't want that to be you. I really don't. I don't want that to be you. So let's get into it. So the first step that you want to take, and I talk about this a lot on the show, and I'm going to drill it in until everyone who listens to this show remembers this as you write your first book or you continue, you're in the process of writing your next book. I don't care. Whatever it is, whatever book you are on, you need to have a clear vision plan. And we talked about this last week too. So you can check out episode 70 about having a clear book vision plan and what that looks like. And there's, again, other episodes on here just talking about that, because without a vision, the people perish. And without a vision, a book vision plan, you might not finish that book. And I want you to be able to finish that book because you have a vision. All right. So have a clear book vision plan. And what that means is before you write, you need to know why you're writing. Like, what is your why, who it's for, and what message your book will provide. Without this clarity, you're going to continue to keep writing in circles. So if you don't have a book vision plan, you will continue to write in circles and then you have no clarity for your book. So be sure to have a book vision plan. The second thing is to create a flexible outline that works for you. So don't worry about the outline that has worked for Sarah Beth and Mary Lou and whoever else that you know who has written a book. Don't worry about that. Write the outline that works for you. And your outline isn't a rigid rule book. It's not this kind of rigid process or this rigid format that you have to follow. It's a guide. It helps keep you, like I want to say, to kind of color within the lines to stay on track. That gives your creative structure or your creativity structure and a flow while keeping your message clear. So your outline is going to help you to keep that clear message, to be concise and still give you that creativity and help you with your writing flow. And I've met lots of writers who do not have an outline. They just have things in their notebook, on their computer, on their phone, just all over the place. And it's like, how do you work from that? Me as an organized person, I'm just like, like, come on, get all of that together and get your outline, write out your outline in one document in one place, because that also trips people up and prevents them from not getting their book completed. All right. So the third thing is to set a realistic writing schedule. Treat it like an appointment. Don't have a writing schedule that you don't utilize. What's the point of keeping a calendar or having a calendar if you're not going to use it, if you're not going to reflect on it? I am someone, I have a calendar and I also have a physical planner. So I have like this hybrid method that really works well for me now. I used to solely depend on a digital calendar. So I use Google, and of course you can use any digital calendar. But I found that this hybrid model is really like taking me to my next level when it comes to getting things done and being able to meet the demands of the things that I'm responsible for in my family or in my business and at work. But again, have a realistic writing schedule. So treat it like an appointment, what I initially said. Would you skip a doctor's appointment or an important meeting? No, you would show up for that meeting or that appointment. And that's the same thing you need to do for your writing schedule. So the time that you've carved out, or the time that you said that you were going to carve out, stick to it. Don't try to go back and change it. Stop changing it every week. And if that's not working for you, like, figure out what other times you have in your schedule to actually write. So if you've gone through a whole month without writing because you've moved your writing times about 5 times, what's going on? What's happening? And think about that realistic writing schedule and don't skip it. Stick to it and prioritize your writing time the same way so that you can stay consistent. And consider what time of day you have the most energy. Like, what's the time of day that really lights you up, or you can feel that you can get your most work done, or you feel like you're in a creative space to actually write. Is that in the morning? Is it in the evenings? Is it on the weekends? And then plug your writing schedule into those times. So wherever that energy, that spark of energy where you have the most energy comes from, plug in that 30 minutes, 15 minutes. If you have an hour or if you have 2 hours, plug that into your schedule and just be sure that it is realistic for you. And that, because I mean, it's good to be optimistic and it's good to, think big. But when we're talking about your writing schedule, what is realistic for you with your life setup? Okay, the next thing that you want to create to not fail as a writer is to adopt a first draft, get perfect later mindset. And what I mean by that is that many writers, they stall because they stay in this editing mode while they write. And I hope that I drilled that in. I can't remember what episode that was, if it was last week or the week before, but I just talked about the importance of not editing while you write, because you'll stay in that stall state and you really won't get anywhere. And you're like, why am I still on page 20 and I should be on page 45 by now? But it's because you've gone back to edit, if you're one of those people. So make sure that you have this mentality of like, this is my first draft. And after I have my first draft, I can make it better. I can make it perfect later. I can get my format later. Give yourself permission to write messy first drafts. It's your first time writing, so you have to give yourself some grace. You have to give yourself some encouragement and just know that this is your first draft and that you can make it perfect later. Get the words out first and then editing comes later. You can do that later, but please adopt a draft first, perfect later mindset. And I'm telling you, it'll really help you as well and help you get your words out first rather than editing. All right. So the fifth thing, this is what I like to call having your writing cues in place. So identify your writing cues and then use your writing cues to get in the flow, to get in the writing flow. Instead of waiting for inspiration to strike, because inspiration does not always strike, but be intentional about setting up writing cues that signal your brain that it's time to write. So maybe that's playing a specific playlist. I have a few playlists that I like to listen to as I work and as I'm being productive or writing, getting things done. A specific playlist that I listen to without any words, because I'm one of those people, like if I'm writing, I just prefer to not have words, because if I do have words, I might get up, start dancing, start waving my hand, clapping my hands and all that, and then time will pass me by. So maybe for you, it's having a specific playlist or lighting a candle or being by the window or sitting in your favorite recliner or opening your writing document at the same time each day. Are you a creature of habit? Do you have to eat breakfast at a certain time every day? Or Do you do certain things at a certain time every day? What can you do if you are one of those people who are like a creature of habit? Implement your writing cues to help you write your book. And then some other additional things that you can do is to set an alarm on your phone. So that could be at like 6 p.m. or it could be at 8 a.m. or maybe Tuesdays or Thursdays or Monday, Wednesday, Friday, whatever works for you, because you have your realistic writing schedule. So set an alarm during that time to help become a writing cue for you that will help you get into the flow. And by having these small habits, you're really going to train your brain to shift into your writing flow mode more easily. So at first, it may not be as natural to you or easy, but because you begin to implement these writing cues and setting things in order or in place so that you can write, it's going to help your brain and help your writing behavior so that you can really get into the writing flow. And then the last thing I want to leave you with to help avoid, just being stalled as a writer is to plan and celebrate your writing milestones. So what does that look like for you? Just having those small wins in place. And I'm not talking about going out, spending money or doing all these extravagant things, but just simple things. And instead of just aiming to finish your book, that is the ultimate goal, but break it up into small achievable goals. So celebrate when you hit a word count target. Like if your word count target right now is 1,000 words, 500 words, celebrate that. Celebrate that. Turn on some music. Turn on your favorite song and dance for a few minutes just to celebrate. Write yourself a little letter or a little note just encouraging yourself, saying, hey, I'm so proud of you today for writing 500 words, 1,000 words. This is so great, and I want to encourage you to keep going. Like that is a small win and a small celebration that you can implement to encourage you along the way so that you don't get stalled in your writing process. Or celebrate the fact that you finish a chapter or that you complete a draft. Oh my gosh. I remember all these things when I was able to write over 30,000 words. I was like, oh my gosh, I actually wrote over 30,000 words. And then just to really be able to get in that writing flow and to finally complete the draft and also hitting other word counts prior to that. I also remember the excitement I had when I finished my outline, like when I had all my chapters lined out and what I was going to talk about in every chapter, what the theme was for every chapter. I was so excited. I can't tell you what I did to celebrate. I'm sure that I did in some way, shape, or form. But I was just really so excited and so proud of myself. And it really helped me to keep going. And I also remember, also remember at the time when I was on Instagram that I'd be showing just my writing milestones in my stories. And people would come and celebrate with me and they'd be like, wow, sis, that is so good. Keep going. Wow, you wrote 20,000 words. That's awesome. And then they will be asking me questions of what my book was about. And I was able to share with them what I was doing. And that excited me more. So make sure that you plan and celebrate your writing milestones. It's really going to encourage you to keep going. So just to recap real quick, 6 steps to help you avoid common pitfalls in which most writers fail. And that is to have a clear book vision plan, to create a flexible outline that works for you, set a realistic writing schedule and treat it like an appointment. Also, adopt a draft first, perfect later mindset. Use writing cues to get in the flow. And then, most importantly, plan and celebrate your writing milestones. Still celebrate the accomplishments you have already made. I know there's some people in the group already who have started working on their book, and it makes me so proud that you have gotten started. Like, that's the hardest part for real. It's just get started on anything. I hope today's episode was super helpful to you. If there is just one thing that you learn and that you implement today, it makes my heart glad. I hope to see you in the Facebook group. Again, you can join at donnacherie.com/community. Inside of the community, we have a podcast catalog in which you can search that catalog to find episodes or topics of your interest related to book writing, whether that's a writing schedule, book writing, how to get an outline. It's there for you inside of our community. So go ahead and check that out. Again, it's donnacherie.com/community. Until next time, sis, I pray that you will start writing your book, that you will never give up. And until next time, ciao. Thanks for tuning in. I hope today's episode inspired you to take that next step to write your book. Remember, small steps lead to big results. If this podcast has blessed you in some way, be sure to leave a written review on Apple Podcasts. Your support means the world to me, and it helps others to find the show. Also, be sure to pass on the inspiration by sharing this episode with a friend who could benefit from this message. God bless you, sis, and never, ever give up.